Hey there, and welcome to Careers Unchecked, the podcast where we stop checking boxes and start making moves. This is for barrier breakers, career builders, and anyone who's ready to build a career that actually feels like theirs. I'm Brandy Oldham, career coach, interior designer, and year-round iced coffee drinker. Around here, we keep it real. From navigating career pivots to figuring out how to stay balanced when your to-do list feels like it's just never ending. Whether you're chasing that next promotion, thinking about switching things up, or just trying to figure out what's next, you're in the right place. My goal? To help you trust yourself, take action that feels good, and build a career that's sustainable, not stressful. So grab your drink of choice, settle in, and let's get to it. You've probably noticed what's happening. A lot of companies are scaling back their DEI work. The diversity department quietly eliminated. Job postings, that commitment to diversity line, disappeared. Employee resource groups have had their funding cut. And the bias training that was mandatory last year, now it's optional, which, let's be honest, usually means it's not happening at all. That's discouraging, but here's the truth. This doesn't have to be the end of progress, because DEI was never about programs alone. It was never just a budget line item. Progress happens when people with influence decide to use it. So if you are in a position of relative safety or privilege, you have a unique opportunity right now to decide what signal you're going to send out to the people around you. Let's be clear. When companies roll back DEI, it sends signals about who belongs, whose contributions matter, and about who gets visibility and advancement and who doesn't. Those signals erode trust so quickly, and people feel them. They notice when leadership takes equity off the agenda, but here's where I want to inspire some hope. Signals can also be changed. You don't have to wait for the C-suite announcement or a new policy rollout. Every manager, director, person with credibility has the ability to create a counter signal to this chapter. One that says equity and inclusion still matter here in this team and in this moment. And those small choices, they compound into company culture. So here's what's important to understand. Historically excluded groups have always carried a heavier workload in the office. They don't need to prove their worth harder right now. They've already been doing that. What makes the difference is when people with influence, whether that's a job title, social capital, or just being a part of the majority, decide to open up doors and clear paths for those individuals. Systemic change doesn't come from individuals outworking bias. It comes from leaders choosing to act differently. And if you are in that leadership position, you do not need permission to start. I'm going to give you some tools today so that you can get practical and start this process now. So what does showing up actually look like when DEI budgets are gone and formal programs are shrinking? Here are a few specific things you could try, and some real-world examples of leaders doing them well. So number one, use your voice in leadership spaces. When budgets, promotions, or policies are being decided, ask questions others may not feel safe asking. Who's not in the room right now? How will this decision impact our ability to retain diverse talent? What checks do we have in place to avoid bias in this process? One of my director clients does this beautifully. She regularly speaks up about her employees in rooms where decisions are being made. And if possible, she doesn't just speak up for them. She actually creates opportunities for her team members to present their own ideas. That way they get credit and visibility in front of senior leadership. That's what sponsorship in action looks like. Sponsor, don't just mentor. Mentorship is guidance, but sponsorship is using your credibility to open doors for others who may not have that credibility built yet. It's bringing someone's name up when they're not in the room. It's saying, here's someone you should consider for that project. Sponsorship accelerates careers. And in times like these, it signals to your team, I see you, I believe in you, and I'm willing to stake my credibility on your potential. Number two, create real psychological safety. If you manage people, you set the tone on the team. Psychological safety isn't just about being nice. It's about making sure people feel safe to contribute ideas, disagree respectfully, and show up as their authentic selves. That means calling out when microaggressions happen within the workplace, not letting meetings be dominated by a single loud voice, asking quieter team members directly for their input, It's small behaviors repeated over time, and it tells your team that every single perspective matters. Number 3, you want to challenge coded language. Last week, I taught a course on navigating bias in the workplace for a group of local HR managers. And you know what came up over and over again in the chat was hiring managers using vague coded language when evaluating candidates or employees. Phrases like not a cultural fit or doesn't feel like leadership material. The problem is those phrases aren't objectives, they're shortcuts, and they often mask bias. So we practice pushing back with specifics, asking what competencies are missing? What examples make you say that about this individual? The HR manager's left with concrete ways to redirect the conversation from gut feel to measurable criteria. That's what people in power can do. They can disrupt vague language and require clarity. You also want to amplify voices. We've all seen it happen. Someone offers an idea in a meeting, it gets overlooked, and then 5 minutes later, someone else repeats it, and suddenly it's brilliant. It's not because the idea has changed, it's because the speaker has changed. If you notice that, I want you to speak up. Hey, I think Jordan raised this earlier. Jordan, can you expand on this idea? That small act of amplification tells the room that you're paying attention, that contributions matter no matter where they come from. And for the person being overlooked, it can make all the difference in their confidence levels. Next, you want to tie inclusion to success metrics. If you set goals, budgets, performance reviews, you're going to have leverage in the company. So you need to include equity in those outcomes. You should be asking yourself, who's getting promoted? Who's being assigned high visibility projects? What does our candidate pipeline look like? When inclusion is measured, it matters. So put resources behind your words. If a formal DEI budget is gone, find informal ways to keep momentum alive. That might mean sending an employee to a conference, funding training, or creating transparent promotion processes. Equity doesn't have to cost millions, but it does need to be intentional. So here's a few questions I invite you to reflect on today if you happen to find yourself in a position of power or perceived position of power. Number 1. Where in my day-to-day decisions can I create more access for others who may not have it? Number 2, whose voices do I notice being overlooked and how can I amplify them? And number 3, what signal do I want to send to my team about whose success matters? The rollback of DEI programs doesn't have to mean the rollback of progress. In fact, this is a moment where real leaders get to prove that equity isn't just a trend. It's a value that we care about. And the best part, you don't have to wait for permission. You already have the access, the credibility, and the influence to begin making change today. Progress doesn't survive on glossy corporate reports. It survives when people with power decide to use it differently. So if you're listening and you've got privilege, influence, or security that maybe others don't, this is your moment. And if you choose to act, you'll not only change your workplace, you'll also change the signal you send to every single person watching you as you grow your career. Thanks for joining me today on Careers Unchecked. If you've got a career question or just need someone to bounce an idea off of, reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take a breath, take a step, and keep moving forward. You've got this.
Calling all storytellers, performers, and creatives. The Soundstage is your home for high-quality recording in the heart of Clark County. Whether you're working on a podcast, audiobook, voiceover project, audio series, or audition, we offer a professional, welcoming studio space for actors, artists, and creators. Come record with confidence and mention Careers Unchecked to get $5 off your next session. Learn more about The Soundstage, the Northwest's premier voiceover and recording studio, at thesoundstagenw.com.